Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here from the glorious Watkins Glen. We've just completed qualifying and we're about to get the race underway. My name's Chaz Draycott. I'm delighted to be alongside Aaron Smith again and for the first time in many, many years sharing a broadcast with Sam Fitzpatrick. Aaron, we've got an absolute belter lined up here. Loads of slipstreaming, loads of high-speed corners for drivers to get this wrong in. What can we expect here?
I think we can expect absolute chaos. The top 12 within half a second of each other. So we're definitely going to get some very, very close racing as we usually do in these sorts of tracks. Watkins Glen, of course, being, well, hugely famous around the world. And it's even better this week. We haven't got that really awful chicane, in my opinion, at the end of the first sector. And I think we're going to get a lot of slipstreaming battles, but maybe a few sends here and there.
I think it's going to be very, very fun. Apologies for just being a little bit late there. We were just setting a few things up in the background, and you know what technology is like sometimes. It can be a right pain in our proverbial backside. We have Simon Pitseeker on pole position alongside Fabio De Carmo. Then we have Dennis Fertheim in third position. Sergio Matias in fourth alongside him. And then we have Edward Samborski, or Edward, as he might be known. Omar Baha in sixth place alongside Dennis Cornu in seventh. Then we have Eric Virazimski in 8th. James Byrne is 9th with Brad Philpott in 10th place. Good to see Brad on the grid, actually. We have then Mark J. Ponick and Phil Reed on row 6 of the grid. Following them, we have Marcos Alathon and then Jay Lawrence. We have Javier Bonmati, Gerard Rowitz, Jamie Byrne, Luke Brooker, and others. But with the race is about to get underway now, and the lights are coming on, and the lights are already out. Actually, we are already away. Flying down towards turn 1 they go.
Oh.
It seems like there's drama further down. There's a car in the air actually already, Aaron. It's absolutely gone to pot for somebody. Who was that was going around? Didn't quite see the name.
I think that was Ponick or Young, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Ponick going absolutely haywire at the back of the pack. But yes, we have a very, very busy start indeed. And look at the slipstreaming already. A lot of them staying all the way over on the left-hand side. No chicane here, Aaron, so they don't have to worry about that. But it's going to get very busy now around the carousel. And on cold tyres at the start of the race, this will feel horrible for some of them.
Yeah, the understeer going around there is immense. And same thing here. You can see James Byrne trying to go around the outside of both those corners. But just on lap 1, I don't think he's going to have the grip to do that. There's a car behind going for a send, but it's Piska in the lead of the race. He started on pole and has got away well. Everyone else behind sort of clogging themselves up and couldn't really fight him. But yeah, everyone now just coming towards the end of the lap. It's a very short lap here, as you see some of the cars exploiting some of the track limits back there. But of course, you are allowed to do that. And that is Rowitz going for a move, moves himself up into 17th place. I think he did lose a few places off the start. But everyone coming through the final few corners to complete lap 1.
Indeed, and it's still Simon Pitsika at the front. He's got Dennis Furkheim behind him, then Sergio Mathias and Edward Samborski. Fabio De Carmo has lost 3 places on that opening lap, but the battles go all the way down the order. Here is Dennis Cornu, the Frenchman, 7th place at the moment, hasn't moved anywhere from where he started. James Byrne and Brad Philpott are behind him. Biggest mover in the field so far is actually Jorge Lopez Esposito further down, but we go on board with the Frenchman. Dennis Cornu now going this way and that way. The car in front is Omar Baha, and he moves over to the left. But look, it's almost like he hits a brick wall, isn't it, Aaron? All of a sudden, the car just stops and doesn't really have much overspeed on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he used the DRS activation there. I think he did. I might have seen his rear wing close just a tiny bit. And of course, as we have explained many, many times throughout this season, the DRS in this car works a little bit differently to maybe what you're used to in the likes of Formula 1. It actually closes and stalls the rear wing, causing some of the downforce and the drag over the rear wing to, well, disappear magically. And you gain a little bit of straight line speed. And that is crucial round here, as the front two sort of starting to build a gap from 3rd place. Macias, as we've got a move. James Byrne, Philpott going for a move. Very opportunistic, and made himself up into 8th place from 10th so far.
Well, he's done better than Lola ever did in 1997 wearing said livery, but it certainly looks good on that car. A friend of mine actually painted it for the Pro Mazda quite a while ago as well, for a series that I was running, and it was absolutely hilarious to still see the Lola. Now here is Simon Pitsika at the front of the field, or Simon, and now he's got Dennis Furkheim right behind him as well, and you could see that he was moving over to the right-hand side of the screen there to make sure, sorry, right-hand side of the circuit, to make sure that he had no slipstream whatsoever. And he was just trying to break it up as much as possible, because that's going to be the main factor here that keeps the field together. Now here is the retaliation move. Dennis Cornu now has Omar Baha in a very deja vu fashion, the Frenchman might say, trying to go around his left-hand side, but he's kept it over to the right, and all he's doing here is actually bringing Bradley Philpott into this as well in the not quite Lola. He looks down the inside into the carousel, doesn't quite work from there. Omar's able to carry a lot of speed through there. These cars aren't too dependent on racing lines because of the fact that they can corner so well. It's just that if you compromise yourself a little bit, over tighten a corner, it's really easy to spin up the rears and go around, isn't it?
Yeah, especially some of these corners, because they are so off camber. It's not as bad as like a track like Fuji around the final few corners there, but definitely around here getting on throttle, it's a challenging one, but not as difficult as you might think. And then here we go for a replay on lap 1. Here's Ponick moving over. Oh, yeah, sort of a self-inflicted injury, that one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's, you know, it's dangerous to move over sort of last minute heading into a corner as well, but when you go through a pack of cars all the way over from the right hand side of the track to the left, you'll see it from back here as well as we look at Cal Young. He moves over to the left nice and early, but unfortunately the car behind him just misses his braking point and probably doesn't expect the field to check up that much in front, and goes into the back of him. On the nose cam now of Bradley Philpott. looking at the circuit, flying by, but all of a sudden he's got Omar Baha and then Eric Virajimski behind him. And he's got company as well, actually. Marcos Alarcon. We've had a crash here for James Byrne just at the end of the previous lap. Now, he was going to be in this fight by the look of it. Tries to get involved into the final corner. Oh, that's Omar Baha. Moves over a little bit. And there's just that kiss, and around he goes. Well, that's the thing, open wheel racing like this, Aaron, you've got to be so careful. And there's another example of not quite careful driving. Brad Philpott there running a little bit wide. He's side by side with Omar Baha. And look at that round the outside of him. Beautiful move, but he's going to be right under attack straight away.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about on lap run. Round the outside, you might actually have more grip, but not on a corner like that, though. Nearly loses 2 place. Already lost one to Baha, nearly lost one to Wyzimowski as well. But now Wyzimowski actually under pressure from Alarcon as they battle for 10th place. As, ooh, there's a spin and Brad spun him round. That's going to be a huge pile-up, 3 cars off.
Brad runs out wide and, well, they managed to recover actually, but the car in the wall was Eric Virajimski. And he's going to be absolutely devastated with that one. Only 4 laps into this race, but there has been a change for the lead. Dennis Furkheim from Bahamas has taken the race lead ahead of Simon Pitsika. And here is a look back at that move. And it's going to be a simple little run, isn't it? Down the back straight. And again, it's what's been keeping them together, isn't it? He's in the DRS as well. And flies past on the right-hand side. But you can see, though, Pitsika, he wasn't making too much of that, was he, Aaron? He knows that it's almost inevitable at certain points of the race. And he's already back there with him as the battle goes on for third here. Matthias on Samborski.
Yeah, Samborski making his way up a few positions. As we saw in qualifying, it was one of his worst qualifyings, actually, this season. About 2/10 off pole. And Matthias now under pressure from DeCarmo in 5th place as he loses a few more spots. Can he hold on for 4th? He can for now. But Zamborski looks to be on the pace at the moment. And actually, this battle isn't over just yet. Macias didn't get a great exit off of that last corner. And DeCarmo might actually send it into this corner. No, just going to sit behind for now. There's not really any more overtaking opportunities for the rest of the lap. But yeah, as we saw for that overtake for the lead, I think Dennis Furkheim had opened his DRS. And yeah, if a car has their DRS open and another car doesn't in this car, it's a bit, yeah, there's not really much the other car can do. And I think Pisco might be saving it towards the end of the race, but we'll find out.
We look here at Javier Bonmati, Spaniard, in 9th place at the moment, car 9, P9. He's just following Phil Reed at the minute, and they're not too far behind. Is Jay Lawrence, 2 Australians together actually there, Luke Brooker with him as well. Here's Gerard Rotes, and he is currently 2 places down on where he started in 18th place. So a bit of a tame race at the moment for Jaeger Racing, making his way up the S's. Now this car looks and sounds incredible no matter where it might be, but it sounds even more amazing and looks even more amazing, screaming up those S's. Now Phil Reed has been overtaken by Javier Bonmati. You know that could very easily change around in his favour again, but Bonmati's gained 7 places in this race so far. Jorge Lopez Exposito has gained the most. He's gained 11 spots up to 13th, and there's Jamie Byrne down the inside of that aforementioned number 14 machine of Jorge Lopez Exposito. Brad Philpott now recovering just behind those pair, but it's all go, and it's all very, very busy, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, I did think around here it would be a little bit of a bus train, as well. I mean, it's fairly easy to follow around here. It's a fairly simple track, a lot of fast corners. I think the slowest corner is actually this next corner that we're coming up to now, about 3rd gear in this car, and that's really saying something compared to a lot of other tracks. As there you see Omar Baha trying to sneak a nose up the inside of Akin in front of him, but yeah, not really many overtaking opportunities around this final sector, as the corners are sort of too quick and there's not really enough room to go side by side. But I do believe Omar Baha did get a good run out. That final corner is going to tuck into the slipstream. Now it's a crucial choice, this one, and yeah, he did what I think he was going to do. Let's sit behind for now and chain for 2nd as well. Zamborski up to 2nd place. Pisco dropping off right now and just lets him by, and Zamborski is on a mission at the moment.
He really is, and it's, you know, a definite display of why he wears that number 1. Of course, this being an official iRacing series, the drivers have their numbers given to them based on their iRating in the session. And, well, Edward Samborski, 8,400 iRating. Go back a few years, and that would have been easy pro license numbers. But now, I mean, you've got Sergio Matthias on 7,194, Fabio Di Carmo, 6,470. It's an amazing strength of field in this race. But at the end of the day, the level has been raised so much now by the pros at the top of their game that numbers like that, you know, they're not as important as they used to be. And it's a shame in a way, but it's great to see that still people do have the ability to get to those levels. Edward Samborski doing a great job at the minute, and he's just got to try and find that second to Dennis Furkheim, but he did a purple sector 2. Did Edwards? Oh, no! Well, there's the second. That's what you need to find. Dennis Furkheim off the road in a big, big way. It's so easy to do around there. And the Bahamas driver hands the lead to Edward Samborski.
Oh, be careful rejoining the track. He's surely going to have to come into the pits. And yeah, I can't see him carrying on. No, he is going to carry on. All right. We're going to get a replay of what happened to him. As we come around the second to last corner now, is the car going to step out? Oh, it was just before.
Yeah, it just went very gradually, didn't it? He was so lucky he didn't get caught up by anybody else, especially Samborski. But you could see that some drivers had to get out of that. Pitsika's dropped back a little bit as well. He's just on the left of shot. He was hidden behind the timing tower for a second. And now Fabio Di Carmo and Sergio Matthias are, well, nearly making it cars 1, 2 and 3 in positions 1, 2 and 3. But still, they haven't quite done that yet. But you're absolutely right though, Aaron. The car just gradually went around on him. And that's what the real sort of stick-up is with this car. It can so slowly spin around. It's really strange, you know. You'd expect that sort of slide from a GT4 car, a GT3 car. But no, these things can float around and have really long-lasting oversteer in such a frustrating way that it's almost impossible to catch because it happens, strangely, before you know it.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people don't really tend to drive this car anymore, as Lawrence coming under a lot of pressure from Alarcon behind, who had an amazing run there, but can't really find his way through. But yeah, that's the issue with this car, is it is, well, old. I don't know exactly how old this is, but it's one of the oldest cars in the whole game, I think. There you go, 5 years old this car is, and yeah, I think you could tell by the damage model as well that it is fairly bouncy, as yeah, it's a very old car.
Yeah, I think this specification of the car was from 2017, which was sort of the last years of this championship in real life. But what a hell of a car it is. I mean, it's a 3.5 litre V8, hence the name, screaming its bag off everywhere. It's 540 brake horsepower, and dry, the car weighs just over 600 kilos. That and the fact that it's got DRS, it's got massive and really amplified wings on it. It runs on slicks. It is very close to Formula 1 specs, just not on the sort of same power band, really, as Formula 1 cars. But the handling capability is insane. I've actually started running a league with this car this year. And, you know, the guys do obviously ridicule how difficult it is, but we got capacity sign-ups of 36 drivers. And they just, the one, you know, when you get on with it, it's such a fun car to drive. It's so fast. It just melts your brain how quickly this thing goes around corners. And that's the thing that we saw a moment ago with Dennis, though. When it does go around, it goes around before you can do anything about it, unfortunately, and it's half impossible to save.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I as you said, I used to love driving this car. It was one of the first cars I actually properly raced when I got iRacing. I think I got to A-class in this thing. And yeah, it is really fun to drive. It probably has the same sort of downforce levels as I'd say probably the early 2000s Formula 1 cars, I want to say. Yeah. Maybe even more.
Yeah, it's about as fast as, well, other than power, it's about as fast in the corners as a Formula 1 car about 2 years its senior, to be fair. Sorry, 10 years its senior. And if I'm honest with you, another league I ran, we've considered using this car to sort of mimic early 2000 Formula 1 cars in their liveries, because it's a similar shape, similar dimensions, just without all the horrible flicky bits. And I think it's a great looking machine. I mean, Jay Lawrence here in this Renault livery looks absolutely awesome. It might not show up on the broadcast, but he's got the sort of yellow and black Formula 1 Renault livery from I think about 2016, 2017 on this car. It looks awesome indeed. But he's part of a battle right now with Jorge Lopez Exposito and Marcos Alarcon in front of him. The Spaniard in front and Spaniard behind. Then Jamie Byrne trying to cling onto the back of this as well. And then we have Brad Philpott who did actually start 10th on the grid in this race. So he's only lost 3 places from where he started, but he was having a great drive up the order earlier on. Samborski's lead is now 2.5 seconds, though, Aaron. He's looking nice and tidy at this point in time, but there's so many battles through the order. We're going to have plenty to look at till the very end, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know you're a little bit unfamiliar with Zamborski, but he has basically dominated, I want to say, the last 2, maybe 1.5 years of Formula 3.5. Yeah. He's sort of been at the top kind of all the time. I think it was 2 seasons ago he won 11 out of the 12 races we had of the season. That was very fun to commentate. So yeah, this season has been a bit of a slump for him. I think he's only won 1 race so far, if that. But nevertheless, showing his worth right now. Coming through the field, started in 5th place and at the moment holds the second fastest lap. Fastest lap goes to the man behind him, DeCarmo, who is on a charge as well. But I think that gap is too big for him to narrow. But you never know. We're about halfway through the race, and yeah, as you said, a long way to go, and I can't wait to find out what's going to happen.
Well, the tyres can very quickly go off, and in a car like this, you really do feel it more than if it was just, you know, like a slower car that doesn't really require that sort of high-speed grip as much, you know, a car with a much lower average speed. So I'm intrigued to see whether the tyre degradation does get to these cars towards the end of the race, but you never know. It's just something we're going to have to hold on to our hats for and get excited about later. We look here from Jay Lawrence's car at the cars chasing, which is Jorge Lopez Exposito, the man that we jump on board with right now, and then Jamie Byrne just in front. And you can see that dependent on the camera angle is actually dependent on how close this all looks, really, Aaron, but still we've got a great battle shaping up here, and it can very easily be kept together with slipstream at this sort of distance.
Yeah, this track, I think sort of no matter what sort of cars you do, it's very much slipstream dependent, and you really have to play your cards right, as it usually tends to be a lot of laps, and there's Lopez getting a very good exit, but as I was just talking about, you have to be smart with your decisions, and he's going to send it into turn 1 anyway, but that of course is going to give Lawrence behind now the chance to get a slipstream, or is Byrne behind going to try and attack him? That might ruin all of their speed and could allow Lopez to get away, but this long run all the way down from turn 1 down to the carousel, it's in these cars it can fly by, but at the same time, if you're the car in front, it can feel like forever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a car that, because of the pure acceleration, once you get near the top end of its capabilities, it does feel like you've hit a proverbial brick wall. It can be a real nightmare. There has been a change for 3rd position as well, and just as we switch to it, thank you, Sam, Simon Pitsika moves up into 3rd place ahead of Sergio Matthias. And to be honest, Simon is going very, very well at the moment. Car number 18 in this session, which means he has the 18th highest iRating at 3,954. Isn't that terrifying? He's going very, very well at the moment, though, overtaking a man with 7,194 as well. Yes, there may have been slipstream assistance in that, but still, he's got to get the job done, and you've got to do the driving itself. It's not like these cars drive themselves around this circuit, and to be honest, it's quite the opposite, isn't it? You really do have to wrangle these things sometimes.
Yeah, this car is very much a driver's car, and there's a side-by-side overtake. Brad Philpott, very impressive move around the penultimate corner, and has now got Lawrence in his sights. And look at that gap that I was talking about. It's just opened up between Lawrence and Lopez, and I think they may come to regret that.
Yeah, and that's the thing you said before yourself, Aaron, that you have to be smart with your decisions and so on. And unfortunately, all it takes is for a driver to make a move that maybe doesn't need to happen at that point in the track. You know, they could wait and get in the slipstream, and then it wouldn't affect the battle so much, and it wouldn't drop them away from people. But there was that move made into turn 1, and it was really broken the pack up a bit. Now let's have a look then. Luke Brooker, he's on the inside line here, going into the carousel. Round the outside goes Marcos Alarcon, and he's got Jorge right behind him once again. Now looks to the inside, going into the boot. He's still down the inside as they go down the hill. Easy to lose the rear here on the exit as it compresses down, and it's still side by side as they go to the toe of the boot now. He moves into the middle of the road, makes sure that Jorge's over to the left, sticks to the inside line nicely, gives him the room. Lopez gets a bit sideways, but then he gets the slingshot on the exit. He's still on the outside. He's got a tiny bit of slipstream down the back straight here into the heel of the boot, who's going to be later on the brakes. They both break at a very similar margin, but it looks like Luke has lost out there, or has he? Because Exposito as well, he's exposed himself and gone wide. Now he's on the inside line for the hairpin and gets the job done, or does he, Aaron? Because now he's going to be giving in the slipstream into these final couple of corners. Is the dirty air going to be a big effect, though? There's a battle going on behind as well.
Yeah, Philpott finally making his way past Lawrence, but they're going to be battling pretty much throughout the race. I don't know if they'll be able to catch up to the top 10, but we'll find out. But yeah, Brooker losing 3 places on that lap, not exactly what he wanted. He sort of exposed himself coming down this back straight. And there's Jamie Byrne going very wide into turn 1. And Baha, of course, making that earlier error. It wasn't really his fault, actually, but now trying to come back through the field. First target properly for position now is Byrne, who gives him a little bit of a squeeze. That was not very sportsmanlike from Jamie Byrne after going off the track into turn 1, and Baha's sort of just going to have to sit behind and grit his teeth angrily at Byrne in front of him.
If these things have headlights, he'd be worn them out flashing at him for that one by now. Absolutely would have done. He'd be pressing the DRS button just to wave that at him to call him names and so on. Now, we look here at Gerhard Roets, the Canadian, and ahead of him, just up the road, is Yaya Enes Aiken in the number 19 car. Then we have Valerio Fagundes Tavares, 4 places gained so far. Then Omar Baha, you can see the gaps between these guys here, and he's on the back of this train now. That includes Jamie Byrne and then Jay Lawrence just in front, and they are both looking at the back of Brad Philpott. But I love the liveries that we have on show here. I'm not sure if all of them are coming through on the broadcast, but we have some fantastic looking machines indeed. Brad Philpott, though, certainly excited. I've known of Brad for quite a while, to be fair, Aaron, and he's a driver that's not scared to push. And he's one of these guys that you know is always going to be entertaining in the race. Sometimes not always to his own benefit, but I tell you, he's entertaining if anything else.
Well, his Twitter account is definitely entertaining, I'll give you that one. But Lopez sets the new fastest lap, and that really does go to show that you don't necessarily have to have pace around here to be competitive, as we saw during qualifying that these cars are so close to one another. It's more about slipstream and DRS and who you're fighting and whether you can get a clean lap in. And Lopez, probably in this train right now, is getting a very, very nice tow, and that's why he's gone about a 1/10 of a second quicker than the leaders on that last lap. But now it's just getting held up a little bit from these cars in front. This is the battle for 7th place. We've got technically everyone from 7th to 14th battling for position. A little bit skewed there, but these main 3 really giving us some close action at the moment.
Yeah, and that's it. But the frustration for them is wanting to get ahead and then break away from the other pair. And it's just not happening with the slipstream working as it is. And obviously it gives us more and more entertainment lap after lap, but for them it's a really frustrating scenario to be in. But still, this is what brings out the best in drivers. You see, you've got to put them in a challenging environment like this, and you see where the certain amazing talents really do rise on through. And all of these drivers are so quick. You know, there's nobody in this entire session with less than 3,000 iRating. There's some big numbers either way you look at it. You know, I know a lot of guys that have put time and effort into iRacing over years and years and only just broken through like the 2K mark. It's not easy to get up to these numbers, so hats off to all of them. We look here at Fabio De Carmo, and he's making his way down the straight again with, of course, Simon Pitsika right behind him. Here's a battle. Luke Brooker has got Brad Philpott all over him. Brad needs to be careful running that close to the back of him so he doesn't pick the rear up off the ground. Oh, it's unnecessary. It doesn't need to happen. But he just wants to have that slipstream for as long as possible, because here comes Jay Lawrence on the left-hand side. They swap position time and time again on the timing tower, and he's swooping around the outside of the carousel. I was waiting for contact there, Aaron. I don't know about you. I was holding my breath. He's now gone down the inside of Luke Brooker into the boot. Look at that, 2 for 1 for Jay Lawrence. Oh, there's an accident in front, and in front of them, that's Exposito in the wall. And who was the other car in there? I think that was Marcos Alarcon, wasn't it? The 2 of them having an incident. Whether that was contact or not, we'll have to see. Maybe one spun in front of the other. But what we do know is Jay Lawrence has just gained 2 places from these guys, and they're still battling.
Yeah, that's the thing. Round the outside, I actually think round those corners is a better line, as when you come off the corner, it gives you such a boost, pretty much. Just the way the corner shoots you off, and you just have those few extra miles per hour that was so crucial. But these guys, unfortunately, weren't so fortunate, as Lopez just gives him a little tap, and that set off a chain reaction in front, and they both ended up in the wall. Just a tiny mistake, but in this sort of car, which still has the sort of outdated physics, you tap a car or go over a bump and it just bounces everywhere and unsettles the car massively.
But it was a weird one, that, wasn't it? Because there was the tiny tap to the back of Alarcon's car, and in Exposito's defence, you know, Alarcon did move over and over and over to the right. Maybe there wasn't an overlap there, but in cars that are this close, you can't risk it. And look at the steering there. He's turning nearly 45 degrees right, and the car is only just going in a straight line. But, you know, it had that sort of weird delayed reaction. You know, it unsettled the car, but it took a second for it to become very obvious. And then by the time the car had gone round, unfortunately, Jorge Lopez Exposito had to react how we'd all react and slam on the brakes, but it locked him up and he went straight into him. On board now again with Jay Lawrence, and he is going to be loving the fact that they're still battling behind him, because he's starting to break away a little bit with this one. And he's now going down towards the heel of the boot for the 17th time in this race. It's incredible how quickly it's flown by. We've only got 8 laps of the race left to go once they start the next one. Brad Philpott is ahead of Luke Brooker now, and Luke, well, they can't Luke forward at the moment, as they'd say in Stoke, because he's got people piling in behind him. Jamie Byrne in there as well. He's going to be lighting up the burners, and then Omar Baha is just waiting in the wings to see what comes his way. But it's great to see these cars screaming their way around a high-speed circuit like Watkins Glen. I'm loving the sights and sounds of this.
I was sort of waiting for you to make another pun with Baha's name, but I was left disappointed, so you want a bit of a treat there.
I don't know enough about the Baja race in America to make those sorts of jokes.
Oh, well,
you can sat there saying, oh my goodness. There you go. Anyway, well, oh my goodness, Fabio De Carmo's under pressure from Simon Pizzica. He wants a pizza this, and he's trying to go up into second position. This battle's still going on once again. Luke Brooker on the inside, and Baha's decided to ditch him, go one way then the other. He's going to go through the middle as well. And then Jamie Byrne, well, he keeps it lit round the carousel and into the boot section once again, Aaron.
I don't know if you're trying to break me.
We just had our producer Sam just say, I've missed this in our ear as well. So I can only apologise for my horrendous northern humour and puns. Still, great racing going on though, because there's constant position changes, and that's exactly what we want, isn't it, Aaron?
Yeah, only a few cars actually have stayed where they are, and that's not really actually how the race has played out. As DeCarmo has been up and down the grid a few times. I think we had a Macias as well, who's moved up and down a few positions. And yeah, Bonmati up 10 positions right now, as Lawrence losing a place to Philpott. I think he might have made a mistake somewhere. He had a gap of about a second, and it's just sort of fallen off.
Yeah, I'm going to see what the lap time was. I mean, last time round, Brad Philpott was nearly 4 tenths of a second slower, but as they cross the line here, the lap times are 130.7 for Jay Lawrence and 129.7 for Brad Philpott. So Brad was a lot quicker on that lap. They're side by side again though as they go up the S's. Brad's going to be thinking, well, you just go away, can I just get the position and clear you both. Jamie Byrne though, well, there he is, still flying up behind the pair of them. You can hear him sort of lifting a bit there. He knows that he wants to just wait for this. He's probably expecting an accident, and Omar Baha says, watch this. Goes through the middle of the pair of them now, moves over to the left, gives Jamie Byrne the slipstream. Brad Philpott's in the middle, doesn't make that move work, and look how wide around there Baha goes. He almost goes to enter the Baha and come back into this race. Then he's got Luke Brooker waiting behind this again. Look at that around the outside, just like you said, Aaron. Fantastic stuff by Jamie Byrne. You could say he's on fire, but he's just going to be under attack again right now as Brooker has a look down the inside, tries to put his nose in there. Omar says, no thank you, sunshine. And Luke, well, still waiting for these opportunities. This is great stuff to watch. They need to be careful, though, because the always rapid Jorge Lopez Exposito behind them is only 1.6 seconds back now, so as long as he's not got massive damage from that incident before, he could become a part of this.
I think we need a pun counter for you tonight and slap you for every single time that you have made a pun. Breaking professionalism.
Relentless.
I'm loving it though. You know, I'm not complaining, but you know, you carry on bringing them in, and everyone watching can print along with me and Sam.
Absolutely, that's why I'm here, mate. That is why I'm here. Fabio De Carmo then, from Brazil, all the way over on the right-hand side of the circuit. And there is Simon Pizzica in third place at the moment, trying to get the better of him. He's wearing a Ferrari livery on my screen. Well, they're having a hell of a battle, to be fair, but DRS is obviously going to come into question in these later stages. Who has stored it up for these final laps? It's very difficult to tell whether they're using it from a distance. There's still side-by-side Brad Philpott and Jay Lawrence, completely other ends of the world as well. That's one thing we really always have to try and highlight in sim racing, is that Brad Philpott's racing from the United Kingdom. Jay Lawrence has stolen a bit of our flag and is racing from Australia. And right now, they are so far apart in the world, but look at how closely they can race each other. I'm jinxing it now, because I've raced with Jake Blackwell for years. But this is just excellent stuff with these guys so far apart around the world. Then you've got Jamie Byrne and Omar Baha from the United States in there as well. But this, well, maybe they're racing a bit too closely for your liking, Aaron. Some interesting noises coming from your direction.
It's just making me nervous watching these guys, knowing that just a tiny little bit of contact. And talk about questionable noises.
I know.
What is that?
Oh, there you go. There's one. I was making a very pleasured noise for the fact that he bounced it off the limiter like mad out of the hairpin. It was really, really yobbo behaviour by Jamie Byrne. Just kept his foot pinned. He thought, gearbox, what gearbox? Absolutely rattled the thing off the limiter, and it sounded amazing. Look at this though by Jamie. Hangs it round the outside. Well, Jorge says thank you. He says no, absolutely not, senor. You will wait there, thank you. Goes down the inside on the S's, then the outside, then the inside. They're not going to get any slipstream off anybody from this distance, so they're going to still be glued together as they go down towards the carousel. We head to El Chopperino, and look at this now. Jamie Byrne not quite level with him here. He's going to be on the back foot, but you can bet that Jamie's going to try and get a cutback. A really good slingshot off here. Use the slipstream, then get around the outside. Jay Lawrence has got some. We've got a sorry from Sam. Don't you worry, mate. There's plenty to look at. Jamie Byrne now sticks behind, though. I thought he was going to try and sweep around the outside. Omar Baha moves back inside, further inside the top 10. Luke Brooker has become Luke Looker on the late breaker. Nearly makes contact. And flipping heck, this is epic stuff, Aaron. I'm loving this. Why don't I do this every week?
Well, you did only commentate them only a few days ago, and Luke's still trying to pin a nose up the inside, but just didn't get on the brakes well at all, and sort of just sit behind Lawrence now. But yeah, these position changes are happening a few times every single lap, and I think though Philpott is just starting to break away slightly, but these two still clinging on just about to each other. Pitsika just hanging on to the slipstream a tiny bit, and when I say a tiny bit, I do mean he's going to be getting a 1 mile an hour maybe, and that's about it, unless he opens DRS, which I don't believe he has. No, he hasn't. And yeah, just going to have to sit behind for now, as he will not be close enough to go for a move. But as you said earlier, for such low I rating, he's doing a fantastic job.
He is indeed. He's really hounding Fabio Di Carmo, and it's great to see this because, yes, the slipstream does keep them together, where normally sometimes you'd expect Fabio to break away a little bit, but it's great to watch tracks like this because it does really close up the gap slightly, and it gives people a bit of an advantage. It's almost like having rubber banding in a sort of arcade game, isn't it? It's great to watch. We had a look there at Takashi Shindoi and now Daniel Gallis. Here's Gerhard Rotes a bit further down as well in 16th position. We're going to cycle through as we've got Yaha Enes Aiken. Ahead of him we have Valerio Fagundes Tavares. Jamie Byrne in 13th place. It felt like he was 9th a minute ago. Jorge Lopez Exposito. Luke Brooker is 11th. And then moving inside the top 10 we have Jay Lawrence for now. Omar Baha 9th for now. Brad Philpott 8th for a bit, I think. And then Phil Reed quite a bit ahead of him. He looks nice and safe at the moment. Dennis Cornu, we've not seen him for quite a while. Thought he might have given up. Then we've got Javier Bonmati in 5th. And he's holding on to that top 5 place, by the way, after starting 15th. Then we've got Sergio Mathias. Simon Pitsika started on pole position, has dropped to 3rd. Fabio Di Carmo in 2nd. And Edward Samborski, of course, he's currently on his way to New York, absolutely disappearing up the road with a gap of 6.2 seconds now. Thanks to this battle, Aaron.
Yeah, these guys, I think Pitsika was trying to be a bit conservative on the first few laps, but now has said, oh well, I'm probably not going to win this race, so send it! I'm going to move myself up into 2nd place. And just before we got to the carousel, he made that move stick, and is probably going to pull away massively now. But these guys are not going to pull away from each other at all, and they're going to keep on battling and battling and battling, as Lawrence is probably fed up of the sight of Brooker at this point, as he's been battling for about 15 laps, and now is trying to look around the outside of the carousel. He's done this move before, gets a nice little slingshot off the exit, but it wasn't as good as he hoped, and is trying to go into this next corner. We've got 3 cars behind him, all trying to just give him a little sniff on the inside, scare him a little bit, And there's Brooker still trying to put a nose in, and he's done that a few times. And just unsettled Lawrence going nearly full lock round that last corner, and he's going to go nearly 3 wide into this corner. This can't end well. And somehow it has. They all play it fairly safe, and well, everyone's changed position again.
Actually quite happy for Brooker there, because for about the last 38 attempts we've seen him make on positions, it's never really quite worked for him. He's always made a place, but then ended up right on the back foot again and under attack instantly. And well, he's actually made it work now, and hats off to him. He's really been patient with it, so he's doing a solid job. Brad Philpott's been as entertaining as ever. He's got Omar Baha still queuing up behind, though. I say a queue, it's not much of a queue, but we love to do it over here in the UK, so we're going to call it that. We've got Omar then. He's half a second back. Change again for second position. Fabio De Carmo and Simon Pizzica glued to each other and having a fantastic fight. They're going to come away with this with a big grin on their face, and it's great fun to watch. And again, here we go, Aaron. They're back at it once more. Even this is going on now. Omar tries it around the outside of the carousel, really squeezes Brad Philpott to the inside. And he's goading him there. He's saying, go on then, try it, son. Get close to me. And Omar says, all right, then, I'll just take the inside line. Cheers. And through he goes. There was a lock up there from someone. I think it was Jorge Lopez Exposito. We're going back one way, then the other. Omar Baha now runs wide through the toe of the boot. Brad's in front, but I don't think the overlap's completely gone. Needs to be careful here, otherwise he'll have about as much success as Lola had in 1997 wearing that livery. You can't see it on the stream, though, but it looks fantastic, just let me tell you that. Omar Goodness, I said before, and he's done it again. Fantastic stuff. Outside at one part and then inside for the other. But then Brad Philpott's going to have the run to the final lap, Aaron, and flipping heck, I'm losing my breath at this rate.
Yeah, that's why I had to stop as well. I was sort of like, I can't breathe. Everything's going on. But nevertheless, Bar putting on a fantastic show. He had a very big incident at the early parts of this race and has made his way up to 8th, which is probably the best he can do. But this battle, the first of many, the DRS on for Pizzica, and
and invisibility cloak.
he's
got the.
Okay. Oh, and he's back. Oh, there we go. I couldn't quite see him, and he goes round the outside of the carousel. I think even if he is ahead, he's going to be ahead by the time we reach the end of this. He is just about. Is De Carmo going to try and hang it around the outside? He is. I think off the exit, yeah, he's just going to lose out, but he's not going to give it up. Is he going to send it into this next corner? He's looking up the inside. Pizzica leaves him room. But again, I think Pizzica is just better through this middle part of the track, hence why he got that pole position. And a bit of a shame that he couldn't fight for the lead. He was a bit conservative on the opening few laps, but I don't think he will be complaining. He's gaining a hefty amount of iRacing, plus 107, as De Carmo trying to find any way possible through, but that's a very wide line from Pizzica, but De Carmo can't really do anything. Something De Carmo can't do is challenge this man. Eddie Zamborski wins and also sets the fastest lap of the race. This isn't actually quite over yet. It might go to the line. Do they have any DRS activations left? They don't, and Pizzica's just going to hold on. And oh my god, that's a scary camera. Just all of them coming around the corner. And Jay Lawrence is just about going to hold off the group behind him. He's fought very, very hard for this 10th place. And very much has deserved it. Luke Brooker just going to miss out. And a run to the line, and Byrne just misses out on 12th place. What a fantastic group. Oh my god. That was spectacular.
Excellent fun and a great win by Eddie Samborski. Really top-notch stuff. And well, he said that Simon Pizzica was going to gain 107 iRacing. iRating, I should say. That was going to be very provisional if he carried on doing what he was doing. Fabio De Carmo finishes third ahead of Sergio Mathias. And what a drive by Javier Bonmati. And he gains 10 places to finish in 5th. Here's Takashi Shindoi. And he's going to be, I believe, not quite the final driver to round out the field, actually, because Cal Young is going to be the last driver across the line in 19th place in the number 11 car. But this is Takashi coming around the penultimate corner now in car 22. The Japanese driver swoops his way around the last one. And across the line he goes to collect the checkered flag.
Yeah, I didn't really see much of Shindoi at all this race. And yeah, same for Cal Young. Didn't really see him after turn 1. Not really his fault, the incident that he had. But yeah, nothing really he could have done.
And it seemed like the car was damaged as well there, because as he crossed the line, it just quite wasn't great English, Chaz. It just didn't quite have the steering straight, so unfortunately it didn't quite work out for him. Edward Samborski, though, it certainly worked out for him. He had a fantastic victory there ahead of Simon Pizzica, Fabio D'Acamo. Great entertainment from those guys. Sergio Mathias in 4th place ahead of Javier Bonmarti. Dennis Cornu, after the early battles, we didn't really see much of him or Phil Reed, to be honest, but they'll be happy with that because good news, no news is good news. Brad Philpott finished 8th, just ahead of Omar Baha. Great battle between them as well. Jay Lawrence, Luke Brooker, Jorge Lopez Exposito, and Jamie Byrne, also great fun to watch. Valerio Fungundes Tavares finishes in 14th. Yaha Ennis Aiken finishes 15th, ahead of Dennis Gallis. Then we have Gerard Rotes, and then Takashi Shindoy and Cal Young, as we saw. The drivers that didn't finish the race, though, were Dennis Furkheim, real shame for Dennis, spinning out of the lead. Marcos Alarcon. Then we had Eric Virozimski, if I'm getting that right, James Byrne, and Mark Ponick, who was off at the very first corner. But still, so much to look at in that race, Aaron. Great fun all the way through, and I cannot believe that 25 laps flew by so quickly.
Yeah, I think it's just when we get these types of races where there is just fighting constantly, one, it leaves me breathless, my head hurts, and two, yeah, the races just absolutely fly by. And yeah, this track always provides some really good racing, and yeah, not any different today. And we saw a few times as well, like in the Radical SR10s, and I think even Formula Vs when they come around here. No matter what car you drive and put around here, it's always going to be so much fun to watch and drive. And yeah, today was no different at all, and all of our drivers should be proud of themselves that they even finished.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's not an easy car to drive at all, and you were saying before about me commentating on them recently with the league that I run, but you know, our guys constantly remind me of how difficult it is to drive this car. The fastest guys in the series make mistakes, they light up the rears, they have accidents. It's not simple at all, this car, because you think you've got it nailed and you think, wow, this thing's absolutely on rails, it feels like a scale electric car 90% of the time, but when it goes, boy it goes, and it is absolutely terrifying how quickly it can have an accident. But that was really mega fun, to be honest with you. And the slipstream, of course, kept people together. Some might not enjoy that as much because they can't sort of use their natural pace to break away, but it makes for great entertainment for us lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And you know, sometimes we do get some boring races like we had, I think, Catalonia last week or the week before, where it was, you know, quite a ball fest. But then again, it's Catalonia, so it's not really a surprise. But yeah, these cars are fun to watch. People just fling them around corners and hope that they make it to the other side. And yeah, this car is a bit of a gem, to be honest, and I think more people should give it a go, but I know they won't. So yeah, the tyres do look a bit square though.
Yeah, they really do, don't they? It's a really weird thing. I noticed this actually in the league the other night. The tyres really, it was the same on the Formula 3 car when it first came to iRacing actually. It looked really square, like almost you'd expect the tyres, because of that, to feel like they were made of concrete. You know, they would feel absolutely terrible, but they do get rounded off by certain cameras. It's quite funny actually. Still, I think it was great fun to watch, and we actually have a driver in for an interview, and it's great to have with us the 3rd place finisher from that race, car 3, position 3. Fabio D'Acamo jumps in. Fabio, very well done on a podium finish. You must be pretty happy with that one. It was a great battle with Simon.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough start for me. Not a very good jump out of the line, but I managed to get back positions. I saw the leader spinning, so we were able to check out the accident, and I think no one caught the accident when he was spinning. Then just trying to follow Eddie, but he was much quicker, couldn't keep up with him. In the end, Simon was very smart, saving on DRS for the final lap. Was not able to defend. I had my DRS open as well, but he got the slipstream and got much higher speed down the back straight. So yeah, it was great fun. Really happy with the podium.
What was your sort of biggest challenge of this race tonight? Because as you've mentioned, the slipstream was really important and it kept everybody together, but in terms of certain corners around here, were there any where the car was very difficult to drive each time?
I think the rear tires were wearing out quite much because of the time of the day that we had was close to noon, a very hot track.
Yeah.
So it was really hard on the exit of high-speed corners, just trying to manage the traction out of it.
Well, you certainly did a great job of it, Fabio. It was really good fun to watch you, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for Texaco Racing for having me. Texaco Lubrificantes, Logitech, B8 Seguros, and HB Brasil. Thank you so much, guys, for the broadcast.
Thank you, Fabio. See you again soon.
See ya.
Lovely stuff. Always great to speak to our drivers, isn't it, Aaron? And this is the thing, you know, we always boast about how great a community we have here on iRacing and wonderful people, but you know, that was a really intense battle that between Simon and Fabio, but they come away from it enjoying it because at the end of the day, we're here for the love of racing. We're here because we want to do it, you know, we're not forced to do this. And they got a good race out of it, and that's exactly what you'd want to go into for tonight.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of best races that you get where even though you might have lost against the car in front, you still feel good because you just had a good time. You had fun racing. And I think that's why, even though not many people drive this car, it does have this small little lively community of people that do still care for this car and have these sorts of wheel-to-wheel battles all the time, every single week. And even though they lost, they come away with a smile because they just had an amazing time, and that's really what you like to see in sim racing.
And they're not the only ones that had a great time and come away with a smile, because myself, Chaz Draycott, Aaron Smith and Sam Fitzpatrick all certainly enjoyed that one. We hope you did too, and of course thank you for watching, everybody that's tuned in for tonight. We'll hopefully see you in the next round of the championship here on Apex Racing TV, but this has been the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship. We will see you again very soon.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS. Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VR.